Okay, great. Good afternoon, all, and thanks again for joining our webinar series on CTC tools. Today we'll be focused on sheet generator. My name is Ramil Axamana, and I'm one of SolidCAD's account managers for the Civil Infrastructure GIS team. Joining me today is Colin Cadet, one of our many tech consultants with SolidCAD. For today's agenda, Colin will talk about how the native Civil 3D view frames toolset can be used to create plan and profile sheets. Then we will explore how Sheet Generator can help create the same sheets, how it allows for more flexible workflow, and witness the dynamic upgrading of sheets automatically. A live demo will be illustrated and show you how this can play into your workflow. We'll conclude our session with final Q&A discussion at the end, so please, I encourage you to type in your questions. Just a quick introduction. For those of you new to SolidCAD and what we do, well, we're an authorized Autodesk reseller that's kept the Platinum Partner status, the highest for well over 25 years. We specialize in technology that help support clients in industries such as architecture, engineering, construction, civil infrastructure, and manufacturing. Now, through our services in consultation, training, workflow assessment, and technical support, SolidCAD has delivered solutions to our clients to help maximize the ROI for their technological investments. Here are several types of services we provide to our civil clientele. From conducting online training courses for your new Civil 3D users, or to the more advanced transportation for design professionals, template creation, to our infrastructure university events, SolidCAD's aim is to keep you well ahead of latest technology advancements. We have a dedicated combined team of 11 civil specialists located coast to coast, ready to assist you in various time zones, and with training facilities and office spanning across Canada. Now, SolidCAD has incorporated CTC as part of our product line because we wanted to be partnered with the industry leaders in productivity tools. Since 2010, CTC has developed add-ins for Civil 3D and Revit, and they've established membership with Autodesk as part of their developer network. They're leading the pace in developing BIM, SIM technologies, and software services. And as of 2019, these Express tools have been used by more than 64,000 users worldwide, and in more than 75% of top firms in the United States alone. Now I'll hand it over to my colleague for our demo on CTC's Sheet Generator. Colin?
Excellent. Thank you very much, Ramil. So like Ramil said, we're going to take a look at some of the native tools that we've got to create our plan and profile sheets in Civil 3D. We need to understand kind of where we're coming from to understand the additional automation and flexibility that the sheet generator workflow is going to offer us. So to start that off, we're going to take a look at kind of the native view frames and match lines. Now, if you're on this webinar, your chances are you're looking at third-party tools for improving this workflow. So you're well aware that these view frames and match lines can be fairly inflexible. You have limited profile view control. So yes, it will automatically create these sheets for you, but you're left with something that looks like this. You've got a chunk of a profile that doesn't have the right elevations in it really, and you're left with a plan viewport that's got just this giant white hatch on it. And although that plots all right, it still doesn't look great, and it's still fairly inflexible. So this is the type of stuff that the sheet generator workflow is meant to improve on and substitute. Taking a look at the sheet generator workflow, instead of working with those view frames and match lines, we're working with just simple drafting guidelines right here representing where a match line might get inserted. And then we have match line blocks that will be inserted. And then we're just simply dealing with what we call a plan view shape, which is really just a closed polyline or a closed polygon on a layer. That's going to directly translate into the shape and configuration for the viewport in plan view or in your sheets. Then to top it all off, we've got automatic viewport and sheet adjustment, where it's going to be able to adjust the viewports, the stationing for your profile and elevations for your profile. And we're going to be able to get in and adjust north arrows and things like that. The best part about all of this, it's super easy to adjust to your company standards. There's a couple small blocks that we'll talk about and a couple designated layers that we'll have to add in. So the way this workflow works with Sheet Generator, we're looking at a module-based workflow. So what we've done is actually split it up into a half dozen or so commands that you're going to be able to jump in and out at any point in the process to get exactly what you're looking for. And it offers so much more flexibility than having everything in one giant wizard the way they do in the native tools. A key thing to note is there's no proprietary objects. All of this stuff it's just blocks and lines and polygons, and all of that stuff is used with a little bit of smart interaction to create some regular viewports. So we're just really automating and simplifying the process for you. We've got some really nice ways to deal with the profile view stations and elevations, as well as pipe networks and other objects that you might be projecting, multi-leaders and things like that. Let's talk about the setup for a minute. So I kind of alluded to this. It's very easy to set up. There's a couple blocks that we need, like a match line block that looks, I mean, when it's not actually inserted, it looks something like this. We've got some sheet set fields that are involved in there and things like that allow us to update and have the same block represent all of the match lines across the drawings. That shouldn't be anything too new for us, but it's going to automate the insertion of all of those, both in plan view as well as in profile view. We've got these profile masking blocks, which it really just simply looks like a chunk of your profile with some masking behind it. So you're going to be able to have some additional buffer space optionally in your view or in your profiles, if that's what you're looking for. And then all it asks for is just having that same pre-configured layout that you guys are going to already have, along with ideally a sheet set manager or a sheet set for each of your projects. Because if we're doing all of this automation, we might as well, or we should be using all of our sheet sets to automate the rest of it as well. And Sheet Generator dovetails nicely into our sheet sets. So talking about this, we're not death by PowerPoint here, so let's jump into a live demo and take a look at all of the stuff that we can do in here. So I'll flip over to Civil 3D. And what we've got here is just a simple alignment with a couple blocks in there. We've got a pipe network in there. And let's first maybe just toss in some view frames and match lines in here. And I've just kind of set those up just so that we can see how these look. Now, this may not be perfect here. So maybe we grab this and we slide it, but there's no room to slide or anything like that. This is the type of inflexibility that I was talking about when it comes to the match lines and the view frames. Sure, we can drag this around a little bit, but we really don't have much flexibility to be dragging these and making sure that the match lines match up nicely. Let's take a look at the Sheet Generator's version of all of this. So I'll just quickly delete these. And let's start from the CTC tools side of things. So like we saw in the PowerPoint there, this is a portion of the Sim Project Suite where we've got a ton of other tools that go along in here for pipes, grading, corridors, labeling, tabling. But we're going to be focusing on these last 7 that all jive into this one workflow that we're talking about to generate sheets. The first step in it is going to be creating plan view shapes. And now that's just the CTC version of what these view frames are. We're able to go in here and type in maybe our starting station, our ending station, our viewport scale. Now, initially, that's just taken from our model space scale for now, but you can absolutely go in and edit that as well. We can provide horizontal offsets to make sure that we include things maybe on the other side of an intersection that we needed in there. And now what it's asking us for is a print area block. So this is the first thing that we'll need to add into our templates. And it's very, very straightforward. We need a plan print area block and a profile print area block. And we'll see what that looks like in just a minute. Then we need a layer associated to it. When we go next, we're able to look at the maximum allowable distance, and we can kind of set the distance between match lines to whatever we need it to be. So I'm going to set it to 140. It gives us a little bit more flexibility. We can round to the nearest stations. We could even avoid alignment geometry in here if we needed to. Now we're going to clip all of our view shapes. And again, we've got some more flexibility here. So we're going to clip our view shapes at our starting stations or match lines or print area blocks. And again, we need that view shape layer in there to source it. And then we're going to insert those drafting guidelines. Let's click finish and see what it creates. And now this is what we're working with now. If we look here on the cyan line, we've got the polyline. That's your plan view shape. And the block right here, that's your print area block. So that perfectly coincides with a print area block that you're going to put in our layouts. We've got 2 of them, one for plan and one for profile. It's really simple. It's just a polygon with an insertion point to the midpoint off to the left. And what that does is it allows us the maximum space that we'd like that viewport to show up on each of our sheets. Now, in here, what we're looking at are just simple drafting guidelines. So this is going to help us snap to what we're looking for. So as we go along here, let's look at a place where we may want, maybe this guy here, maybe we're a little bit too close to that structure. So what I can do is move that drafting guideline. That's going to help me snap. And then it's as simple as grabbing these polylines and dragging them over. And that's how we're going to be able to adjust these viewports. Maybe we want to continue this up. And we'll just snap right there. These drafting guidelines are simply here to help snap to. We don't even need them for the actual sheet layout. Now, once we've got all this set up, the next thing would be to create our profile views. Now, Civil 3D's actually done a pretty good job of this here. So this portion of the tools, they don't claim that it's theirs. This is native Civil 3D functionality. And we're just going to simply create each one of these profile views. Now, that being said, when we come in here, again, there's not a heck of a lot going on. We've got our surface, and it looks like the elevations are all right. Well, we need to come back here. We need to start adding our networks. That would be the next portion of this workflow. So unlike the native Civil 3D tools, where we have the option to add the network, the entire network, to each of these profiles, the CTC tools allow us to just add the network objects that are in view in each of these profiles. So I can select all here. And just like that, I can specify how far left and how far right I'm looking to go grab structures and pipes. And it's going to toss all of the ones in each of these. The key component here is when we go look at the profile view properties, under pipe networks, only the visible ones are shown. This is a huge issue for performance. If all of them were shown in here, especially if you've got a 2 to 3 kilometer street, we don't want to be showing 200 different pipes and structures in each one of these profiles. So that's what this tool kind of does. It only checks and it only grabs the ones that are actually happening inside of that profile view. Now, these are all standard right now, a standard length and a standard elevation. Obviously, that's going to have to change for each one of these. You can see that each one of them has slightly different stationing. And that's where the next tool comes in, is adjusting the profile views. We're able to, again, select them all and press enter. And we've got a ton of different options on how we want to adjust these profile views, both in station and in elevation. So with the stationing, I mean, we want those to match the plan view stations. So that's where this is coming in here. We're sourcing that layer and we're figuring out where each of those crosses on the alignment. And then we're writing those stations out to each of these profiles. We can add additional station buffers in here. And then we get into adjusting the profile view heights, and we can actually round to major elevation ticks. And we can center it on specific objects. So we can look for surfaces, pipe networks, pressure pipe networks, and other layout profiles, and center these on them. So we get the closest possible or the best possible scenario for each one of these profiles. It's as simple as that, and we'll click OK. And we watch as each one of these is slightly shifted here. Now, this is a bit of an iterative process, because if you zoom in, maybe there's pipes that aren't properly shown in here or things like that that we might be missing. So we could quickly run back and run the networks to views command. It's going to reassess which network objects need to be applied to each one of these profile views. And it's going to update for us. And we can see now we've got this one coming in here and everything looks pretty kosher. This might just be a case of regen. And there we go. So the next tool in this, we're not going to use right now, because I don't have a bunch of multi-leaders or blocks representing a crossing ellipse or anything like that. If I did, and I went through all of this profile adjustment, they'd all be offset and they wouldn't be in the right places, right? If I had a multi-leader that was pointing to this structure or this pipe and I shifted everything, well, now that multi-leader is going to be over here and not pointing to the right direction or to the right location. So that's where this tool comes in. Move on profiles is going to allow you to select any of those AutoCAD objects and just shift them all over that specified amount, or elevations as well. So it offers all of that to keep all of your AutoCAD objects showing nicely in your profiles. Now, we talked about in the layout here, we've got a plan view shape, or sorry, a plan print area block and a profile print area block. Now we need to set where this print area block shows up on each of those small profiles there. So profile view shapes is going to insert the print area blocks as well as the view shapes, same as how we did in plan view. I'll select them all, press enter. And it remembers everything that you've already set. So I've gone through and actually set the alignment, the print area blocks, and everything like that. I can provide a Y offset to account for banding. I'll click next. And then I've got my print area blocks that I'm actually inserting here for profiles. I can also insert those match line blocks. I toss those in, and there might be a couple of adjustments that need to happen, but it's as simple as just grabbing this and slightly moving it over. And if you take a look here, when I select this, it actually gives you the plan or the profile view shape and the profile print area block in there as well. Same thing as what was happening in plan. Some easy ways to configure all of this. Let's create some layouts now. When we create layouts, it's going to take a copy of this drawing and it's going to put all of the layouts or some of the layouts in that drawing. We get to pick the number of layouts per drawing, whether it's plan or profile or plan and profile, etc. Again, confirming all of those source object layers to create viewports and everything like that. And then it's going to give us all of the viewport station ranges to confirm. Lastly, we get to select a north arrow. We can insert match lines, and it's going to add it to a sheet set. So I'll click OK. We're going to create these, and we'll take a look at what it creates. Now it's still going to take a minute because it's creating an entirely new drawing and a number of new layouts and adding them all to a sheet set. But as you can see, it's creating each one of those viewports for plan and profile, and it'll adjust the north arrows for us as well. So we're getting a little bit tight on time here. Let's take a look at what we've actually created. Oops, and it looks like I've added it to a previous one that I've demoing prior to this. We'll open up this drawing, and this is what these look like here. These are perfectly lined up. They're polygonal viewports that we've created. We've rotated north arrows. And we've got match lines in here. Now, the question really comes in, and the power of this tool really comes in when we realize that, well, we actually need this project to extend all the way to a little bit further into the end of this road here. Well, I can go back and I can just run through this workflow, and then instead of creating sheets, I'll update them. So I'll need to go to my plan view shapes. Now it remembers everything that happened in there. So all I have to do is select this and put 0, next, and finish. It's going to write these back out. It's going to say, this is the new plan view shapes that are in here. I can adjust them as I need to. I don't need to create profile views. They're already in here. So I can adjust those profile views. Again, it's remembering everything that I've already set. So I'll click OK, and it should adjust them all nicely for me. I may have to run my plan view or my profile view shapes again. Apologies. And it'll write those profile view shapes back out. So if there's anything that I didn't need in these, if there's any part of this workflow that I didn't need to go back through, I can skip it. Now, I do probably need to update my networks to profile views. So I'll update that there as well. Now, the power of this is once it's all set up in here, and we have everything that we're looking for, we can hit update layouts. We'll save the drawing. And this is the big power of this tool. Being able to confirm the alignment, everything that's in the drawing, your plan and profile, blocks and layers, the north arrows that are going to get adjusted, match lines, and then all of these layouts, it's matching the new layout to the old one. When I click finish, it's going to go through and it's going to adjust every single one of these, adjusting the viewports in plan and profile, adjusting the north arrows, all to encompass that 40-meter shift and chainage. This, with the native tools, would have required us to either do it all manually or delete and start again from scratch. This is the real power of the tools, to be able to jump in and automatically perform all of these adjustments in here. It's adjusted every single one of these viewports and updated all of it back into our sheet set. Now, if I flip back into the PowerPoint here, to quickly summarize all of this, we're able to update sheets after a project change. That is, like I said already, the biggest thing that we can do with this tools. There's no need to create anything manually, and it's flexible. You can jump in and out, back and forth as pipe networks change, as your chainage changes, anything, and it's able to jump back in and configure everything that you've already set in there. And it's incredibly easy to add to your company standards. You already have pre-configured layouts. All we need is just to have those blocks sitting in your pre-configured layouts to say, this is the maximum allowable space that I want for my plan view and profile view viewports. So I hope this challenged your current workflows, and hopefully you can see the power of these tools. And at this point, I'd like to turn it back over to Ramil for any closing remarks.
Great. Thank you, Colin.
Are there any questions?
Yeah, so hopefully that's gained a better understanding of what this sheet production tool can do to help with your workflow. We do value your input, so please let us know by typing your comments or questions. If you would like us to show all the other CTC tools and to other members of your team, please contact us. We're more than happy to do so. Now, this is will be recorded and will be available in our YouTube channel by mid next week, along with our previous webinars. So we'll just give a few more seconds for any questions before concluding. Also worth mentioning, our next webinar will be on Data Wizard next Thursday, February 18th, same time, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Data Wizard will help you create project-specific legends and QTOs for all your AutoCAD and Civil 3D objects. It will allow you to scan one or more drawings, generate an AutoCAD table, and as you insert more data or edit, it will update your legends automatically. Again, that's next Thursday, February 18th, 1:30. Now, for a trial version of Sheet Generator, the entire Sim Project Suite that this is part of, please reach out to myself or Colin. We'll definitely get that for you.